Susan Moore. Let's go to the Main Street Family Urgent Care Hotline and the head football coach of the UAB Blazers, that being Bill Clark. Coach, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are y'all?
We're doing great, man. How's the summer been going, and how's practice and scrimmaging for the team?
Well, we made the decision to treat June and July, like everybody else in the country, and have a 4-day-a-week training session that was really intensive, and the strength training, the running, and all the things that would go with the same idea that if we were playing in September of 2016 instead of 2017, and those guys adapted very well to that. I think the athletes want to be pushed and held accountable, and so we had a really good June, July. Now August for us is we're trying to do the same. Treat it like a normal camp, and the wear and tear of camp, the grind of camp, and let those guys experience that. So we're really in today. We started last Sunday, and then of course 2 practices, yesterday and today. So it's kind of a 6:30 in the morning to 9:30 at night, kind of day for these guys right now.
Coach, talk a little bit about your coaching staff and what that's been like putting that staff together, and how's it going?
Well, we lost some guys in the transition from the program being shut down to start back, and those guys had to go find other jobs. And, for me, it was really what was best for them and their families, and that's just kind of, the coaching world we live in where, there is some turnover. I've kind of been pretty blessed, through the years all the way back to my days at Prideful of keeping a lot of the same guys around me and really growing the next set of coaches. But, when you talk about defensive coordinator, my defensive coordinator is David Reeves, who was with me back at Jack State. He was my D-line coach, and DeJuan Walker, who was my longtime defensive coordinator, got out of coaching to go into a private business. And offensively, my offense coordinator is Les Kenning, who, you know him from Alabama and Mississippi State and Texas A&M. Les and I have been friends for a long time. And, and then we've just got different guys that have played for me at Prideful, and I got some guys I had that GA'd with me at Jack State, Larry Smith and Trey Clark with Jack State last year. Casey Woods, whose coaches are inside receivers, was at Auburn. In secondary, Blake Schrader, who has been with me for years, who played at Auburn, GA'd with me at South Alabama and was with me at Jack State. And then Brian Williams, who was at Georgia last year, is coaching my inside linebackers.
Talk about the recruiting process and getting players to come to UAB. I know this past recruiting class, but yet having to sit out a year and then wait until next year to really play against another team. Talk about that process and how it's been.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things that I really would not want to try and do again. It's and I tell guys this all the time, when you go start a new program, it literally takes years off your life because you just have to, it's so time consuming, it's a can to can't type deal. And obviously coming into UAB was Jack State, we had a challenge, but, Jack Crow had done a good job. The cover wasn't bare, and we just needed to tweak a few things. But, UAB was really, was in just a bad predicament when we got here. And to kind of get that program turned around and heading in the right direction when we shut the program down was really tough. So now the question is, how do you go fill out an 85-man roster of scholarship players in 2 years? And so that's those thoughts that kept me up at night. And I think what we tried to do was really sell what are the positives and what's going on here at UAB. We knew that UAB, for years past could really, had a chance to be a great program if they would invest. You've got a top 30 university in the country. You've got Birmingham, Alabama, 16 straight years from a percentage standpoint, the highest rated TV watching community in the country. So you got, a community that loves football. You've got a great university academically. And so we just needed to get this commitment. And, our community has raised about $40 million in a little bit over a year for this program. So I think that's what we've been selling to these guys. Obviously, playing time, something that, they see it. They see the fact that we don't have a lot of players. So I think we've put all those things together, and guys want to have a chance to make history.
You mentioned community a while ago. I tell you that when they shut down the program and they finally brought it back, the community and what I could see from up here in Blount County, people rallied around you guys and helped supported you. Talk about that whole process of them supporting you.
Yeah, I think it's really been what we wanted. It's kind of amazing to watch just really what's happened in 15 months. And, that was one of the questions I kept getting asked, about, would I come back? And I said, the big thing for me is are we going to commit? And really, this has been a community, our citizens, alumni, organization they've just came together and said, UAB football is important. UAB, of course, is important to Birmingham. Birmingham's got a great revitalization coming together already. With the baseball park and downtown really, getting a big facelift. And I think it's just all kind of came together at once. And people have said, this UAB is important to Birmingham, and people, not just UAB fans, but people that are fans of Birmingham, and now they've become UAB fans. So it's a great story.
UAB head football coach Bill Clark joined us on the Main Street Family Urgent Care Hotline. Coach, talk about, we're 2 or 3 weeks away from the college football season starting. Obviously, you guys won't be playing this season, but kind of what's the plan moving forward into the fall, and what's on tap, maybe some of the big things that are going to be happening in the fall for the UAB Blazers football-wise?
Yeah, so for us, the first thing we had to do was make that decision on what is the fall going to look like, and it wasn't easy. What's working these guys, but not working them too hard when they don't have games. And that was kind of when I came up with the idea of let's have June, July, and August be normal. Then when school gets here, we're going to have a huge scrimmage August 29th here on campus. If anybody wants to come out and check us out, it's going to be as game-like as we can make it. And, there's going to be some great competition going on. And, so after that, we'll kind of get in a routine of about 3 days a week, kind of a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday practice with Saturday being a scrimmage day and Monday, Wednesday, Friday being training days. So, one of the things we want to do is really get our academics good. We want to really get stronger and faster and kind of create another off season. And so that's kind of what we'll do, and we'll take a couple open dates and, watch some other people play, and then, we'll look up and it'll be December and we'll be like everybody else.
As far as scheduling has went, as far as getting a schedule together for next year and the next few years in the future, how has that been going? And has it been tough to fill up the schedule as far as non-conference opponents, or how's that going as you move forward into the 2017 season?
Well, I think there's a lot of guys that probably would love to play us, being the fact that we're kind of starting over.
Right.
But it was, the schedules were pretty full. We were really blessed that we were able to get. We got opened up with Alabama A&M, and then we've got Ball State and Coastal Carolina, and then our conference schedule, and then we'll go to the Swamp and play Florida, game 11. So we really got, feel really good about the 17 schedule, and 18 is pretty complete. We got some announcements to make on it. So, we feel pretty good. One of the big things we talked about when I got here was, playing one SEC type school a year, from a payout standpoint, and then, maybe bringing in an FCS opponent here, and then trying to balance it out with 2 non-conference games that are, either regionally appealing or, people that we can be very competitive with, and I think we've done a good job of that.
I know that you brought in a lot of former big-time players in college football. One of them was Greg Bryant, of course, came up from Notre Dame, and, of course, his passing. But talk about the impact that he made on you and the rest of that team in that short amount of time.
I tell you, Greg was literally one of those guys that you just see with a big, he had that huge smile on his face all the time. And, as a coach, when a guy really enjoys training, I mean, this was a guy that really enjoyed practice. He liked, what went with it. You never had to worry about where he was at when it was training. And the big thing we talked about was getting his academics up. And, he'd gotten close to a 3.0 GPA when he had left, right before, when we took the break and when the, tragedy happened. It was right before that we came out with our final grades for the semester. And, he came in my office and we met. I meet with each guy, kind of about what's the summer plans. And we were getting ready to start summer school back in about a week. And he was just so proud of the grades he had made. And I really, to be honest with you, I wasn't worried about what he was going to do on the football field because he was just so talented and explosive and great hands. But to see what he was doing academically was the great thing. And he really did make a mark on our whole team.
I know, of course, you were a head coach at Prattville, then you went to South Alabama, and then you went over to Jack State, and then UAB. How proud does it make you to see the success that John Gross has continued to have at JSU, making it to the national championship last year?
Oh, it's just great. And I had 2 of the guys that are with me now that John had were guys that had played for me, and I brought them in as GAs. And, obviously I'll always be connected there. That's my alma mater. And then with John there, it was, we were together and started coaching together and all those things. It's, just couldn't be more proud of him. And I know they'll, without trying to put any pressure on him, I know they'll have another great year this year.
All right, Coach Clark, we appreciate it, and we hope to talk to you in the future, man.
Okay, thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Coach.
There's the head coach of the UAB Blazers, Bill Clark.
Great interview.
Yeah, great guy. And, you think about that situation that they were in.
Yeah.
And with shutting it down, and the coach that was part of it when you shut it down agrees to come back and continue on and keep pushing forward and building that program. That was a huge get for them to keep Coach Bill Clark for this and their program rebuilding.
It really was. Of course, you'll be back next year. And if you get a chance, August 29th, go out.
Mm-hmm.
Go support them Blazers.
Yes.
All right, coming up next, we're going to have Benjamin Walk from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution talk some Auburn football with us and the latest with the quarterback.